Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Imago's Vlog. My name is Donovan, pastor for preaching at Imago Christi Church. The question for this week is, what does it mean to operate from the gospel? In other words, we use language at Imago. Are you operating from the gospel? Are you functionally believing the gospel? What does that mean? And basically what that means is that to functionally believe the gospel or to operate the gospel means that your words, your actions, your affections are driven by what you believe. And when your actions or your affections or your words or decisions are not driven by the gospel, you're not operating from it. Let me try to clarify a little bit. I believe there's actually basically two narratives by which we can operate. In other words, what you believe life is about, what your story of your existence is about is your narrative. And you operate from that. What you believe to be real is how you operate. And the two narratives that I think are possible are works narrative and grace narrative or gospel-centered narrative. So let me give you an example. If I go home and my wife disrespects me and I feel slighted, I feel hurt, I can operate from a works-based narrative, which says that the way I treat people is based on their works. That the things, the behaviors that they display demand some sort of reaction from me based on their works, and therefore I'll operate from that. So if I operate from a works-based narrative, what I'll do is I'll seek vengeance on my wife, and I'll insult her back or hurt her or something. But in that moment, if I'm operating from the gospel, which essentially tells me, no. My joy, my hope does not rest on my works, but actually rests on grace, that there's a God who looks at me and despite of my works, pours out love for me and gives me blessings. And I believe that, and that's ultimately what's good and true about reality. Now, and I operate from that narrative at home. When I go home and my wife insults me, I'll pray for her. I'll bless her, despite of her works. You get how that works? It plays out in all kinds of situations. Even if I have anxiety, to the degree that I have anxiety, I'm going to say I'm not operating from the gospel. I'm not believing the gospel. Because what I'm believing is some kind of works-based narrative that the world doesn't feel right, things aren't right, and the weight of that falls on me, and I've got to do something to get that right, and I'm not doing it, and so I've just got this deep unsettledness, and I've got anxiety. I'm operating from a works-based narrative. What I want to do is encourage my people to believe the gospel, to remember the gospel, and it is that it's finished, is that the fate of the universe or even my life doesn't depend on me and my works. It depends on Him and His finished work on the cross. And if I operate from that, to the degree that I believe that, anxiety tends to dissipate. So the gospel-centered church is committed to reminding people of the gospel because we believe that all behavioral problems, all emotional problems, all relational problems are really rooted in the fact that we don't believe the gospel. To the degree that we believe the gospel, we'll be free from addictions, we would bear fruit in love, and a lot would go a lot better than it does. So basically, what this does is it leaves me in a place of really ultimate vulnerability, because what I see is that if at the root of all that I desire and hope to be right is a belief, is faith, and then I really see that I can't stir up faith, I can't make it happen, I'm really in trouble. And to some degree that's kind of scary, and I think why people run to religion, because religion says you can fix your life. Just do the right actions, think the right thoughts, and your life will get better. And you can kind of control that. You look at the side of your life and you go, I can do this, I can make myself do that, I can make myself go to church, I can make myself go to work. But if I'm essentially saying what you need to do is believe, you need to see the beauty of God, you need Him to captivate you, you need Him to reveal His goodness to you, you need to believe and have faith. And if you know yourself and you search yourself, you realize you can't make that happen, you can't muster it up, and it leaves you in a place of utter dependency. And as scary as that sounds, we think it's really good. Because when you're dependent on God, He now has the opportunity to shine. So I'm going to invite us all to try to operate from the gospel, to not operate from a works narrative, to really come to the end of ourselves and say, you know, the root of everything really is faith. And so we come to the foot of the cross, and we come to this great King who has promised to deliver faith to us, and we say, help our unbelief.